course, at the time of India making these important decisions, say vis-a-vis China, vis-a-vis US, vis-a-vis Pakistan, you draw a lot from the correspondences that Sardar Patel had with Nehru, his positions on not just China but are dealing with both Israel and the United States. You also make reference to what was Ambedkar's position with respect to our foreign policy as a whole, and how anxious and worried he was about the direction of the foreign policy that the country took in the very initial years. You also speak about Shyama Prasad Mukherjee and his position on India, China, and India and Pakistan. And there was one particular incident that you refer to, which I was also not aware of, which took place right after we referred erringly the matter of accession to the United Nations. And you also mention how Canada and Belgium and a couple of other countries, Western countries at that time, UK primarily, tried to undermine the India position, and there was a sleight of hand. I would want you to explain, because like me, the audience is a young generation audience and we are not very conversant of these details. This was something new for me as well. So if you could explain, the difference in the perspective of, say, Sardar Patel, Ambedkar and Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, and what exactly happened, the Jammu Kashmir thing, the UN reference, and the role of UK, Canada, and Belgium at that time.
Sure. Look, you know, what happens in history is that countries, governments make choices. We grow up thinking that those were the natural choices. They were the only choices, because those choices were made. Over a passage of time, they become like principles of our policy, of our behavior. So somewhere we don't even question. And you know, I'm of course referring to a past, and I think this should apply in the future as well. I mean, I would say 30, 40 years from now, people should have the right also to question what are the choices we are making today. I think that is very much the legitimate way of how a country or a society develops. So what happened in the 1950s, which today people have forgotten, is there were actually debates about what should be our Pakistan policy, what should be our China policy. The sense was that the government at that time was too trusting of Pakistan, that it did deals with Pakistan which others felt Pakistan would not abide by, including treatment of minorities, especially treatment of minorities. There was a debate on China, that, you know, is China a country whose intentions towards India are benevolent or not? Now, and then there was a debate about America, that, you know, we had frictions with America, but there were questions asked saying, are we doing things which also unnecessarily irritate America, for example, by upholding China's case in many situations? Now, these today I have presented as the roads not taken, because these were choices. You know, Sardar Patel, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, these were members of the cabinet. You had a leader like Minu Masani of the Swatantrata Party. I will refer to him as well. So what happened was, at that time, certain decisions were made. They presented choices. Those were not the choices which were made. But today, when we look at Pakistan, when we look at China, when we look at America, exactly those questions remain. Not maybe literally speaking, but questions about, you know, how do you make judgments? If you are trusting, you know, because you are ideologically inclined, you are hostile also because you have prejudices. You know, so to me, we need to be very hard-headed, very practical, very clear. What are India's interests? If India's interests require us to stand up, we stand up. if India's interests require that, we are a little bit more considerate, or we manage it more tactfully, we should do it. But I would not take a call which is based on whether I'm on the side of that country and that bloc and this ideology. I would take a call at the end of the day, does it suit my country or does it not? The second issue, the UN issue, today it is very clear. In fact, not now. It was very clear by the 1970s that taking the Kashmir issue to the UN Security Council was a fundamental error, because you are taking it to a court where the judges are all stacked against you. That these were Western countries who had a bias towards Pakistan, and actually if we had been hard-headed, if we had a good sense of international politics at that stage, we would not have taken that call. It was done, as actually a misreading of what the world was about. That somewhere we saw, UN, there's a sanctity about UN, these chaps will be impartial and, neutral arbiters. In fact, we were, taken for a ride by a set of countries who had their geopolitical agenda, who used Kashmir as an issue of vulnerability for us, and they continued to use it till it took us decades to finally take the call on Article 370. To me, Article 370 was not just a call within the country which we had to take. It actually has profound foreign policy implications. We have closed today a window of vulnerability which we were foolish enough to open in 1948.
So while you make references to the past and discuss the roads that we could have taken but we did not take, you also make very insightful observations about the present and the future. And one of that is regarding the narrative battles that we need to fight in today's digital media age, and also the challenge that comes in a theater, in a conflict zone or a war theater, where multinational companies with budgets which are even higher than GDPs of certain countries also come into play. So these two threats that you have amongst the many that you have highlighted are something that I think we should spend some time discussing about. So where do you see in the coming years, in a more digitized, more globalized space, the influence of these MNCs, these tech giants? How are they going to play a role in everyday lives of people, especially in times of conflict? And two, the narrative battles. We see the New York Times commenting about India. You see some other agency coming out with a survey and giving India a much lower ranking in the democracy index than Pakistan. And that's a narrative war that we need to battle.
In fact, on the press freedom, I think they gave us a lower ranking than Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So, but look, I think, the narrative, the battle of narratives is something we should expect, because in different ways we are defying the entrenched narrative. It's happening in different domains. It happens in politics. It happens even in business. After all, ratings, when you rate a country, you are determining the cost of interest for that. So you are actually affecting them by your judgment. And when you actually drill down, as our friend often does, you will find out that the basis for how judgments are made are often very, very subjective. So what we have seen, and this is something it's been steadily building up for the last 10 years. I expect it to reach a crescendo in the first 6 months of this year. You don't need to guess why. And as elections come closer, we will get, if it looks like it's going a way in which the narrative drivers don't like, they will actually start to attack the process. Now we've seen that before. They will attack Supreme Court, they'll attack Election Commission, they will
EVMs.
even the common sense of voters, you know. So look, that's the way the game is played. Now, we have to, you know, we are